It's just another podcast called Picking It Out. It's another podcast. Gonna be picking it out. Yeah, we got Brother David Hammonds in the house. And we're gonna be picking it out. Oh, applause. That's the first time I've got applause for my little theme.
Wait. I would stand up, but wait. I'll stand up.
Oh, man.
Standing ovation.
How about that? Well, hey, y'all. My name's Andrew Pope. Appreciate y'all watching and listening to Picking It Out once again. And got one of my good old buddies here this week. I've known this guy, man, let's see. Gosh, probably like over 10 years at least, right?
Well, yeah, at least 10,000, 2000 and
No, not 10,000.
10,000.
It feels like it
I'm getting
sometimes.
close.
This guy's he's a Grammy nominated producer. He runs Jeff Cook's sound studio pretty much in Fort Payne, Alabama. And he's been around, well, he ain't been around that long. I mean, I don't want to make you sound old, but, you know, try to give you a little bit of, like a nod, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
well preserved for my years.
There's like a line I'm trying to walk here. Mr. David Hammonds. How's it going, man?
Howdy. Man, I'm doing great. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. This is the first time I've seen you. I guess this counts, don't it, as seeing somebody?
I think so. Yeah, in this era that we live in, COVID, if you can video chat with somebody, you've seen them. And at least we don't have to wear a mask, right?
No mask on Picking It Out.
Yeah, we're farther than 6 feet.
Yeah, we're way farther than that. Oh man, that looking at that background, I mean, you know, some people probably know, but a lot of people don't. Most people probably don't because they've never been there. But me and you, man, we have spent some time in that little room right there, haven't we?
We've had a lot of fun here. I look back at your album that we did here, and I consider that one of my best projects that I've ever worked on.
Oh man,
seriously, it was number one. It was way too much fun.
Yeah,
we had some great musicians. You're a great songwriter, and so it was just like it was a breeze. And you have a lot of great production ideas, and you know, I may get credit for some of that, but it comes from the artist, really, a lot of it. But that was a really good project.
Man, I had fun. I mean, we were there. God, we were there so much. There's no telling how many hours we put into that thing.
Yeah.
We worked pretty good together. I learned a lot from you as far as the engineering. Man, that was loud.
My wife just sent me a text.
That sounded like a damn dog whistle ding or something. Man.
I'll see if I can keep that out of there.
No, that's fine. Anyway, now that my ear's ringing, so yeah, we had a lot of fun. I mean, we tracked the whole thing there for y'all that don't know what we're talking about. My first record, Here We Go, that I did in 2011, 2012.
Something like that.
We recorded all live at Cook Sound in Fort Payne, Alabama.
And that's one of the ways I love to record, because you just get so much from the musicians that are there, and they're feeding off each other. Mm-hmm. And if we set them up in a circle here, as you well know, the room is pretty much built that way. Everybody has a line of sight with everybody else. And if you're playing in a band or if you're in a group of musicians, how much you can feed off that other guy.
Yeah.
And it was just the energy level on that record. You can feel the energy level on that record is really good.
Didn't we use a trash can for a bass drum or something?
I think we did.
And then you added some
Kind of an effect to it. I can't remember, but yeah, I'm sure we did. I always try to throw a little trash in there from time to time.
See what you
can or not.
Was it? I think you was telling me about. Was it Keith Richards or Mick Jagger? One of them that did something on.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly which record it was, but it's one of their hit singles.
Honky Tonk Woman.
I think Keith played the guitar riff or the intro or something on a cassette player.
Oh yeah.
And in his hotel room, I believe is the way the story goes. And they could not reproduce that in the studio. So they ran the tape recorder into the system and tracked it that way. So they did the whole song off of his original riff song idea that he had at the hotel room. I believe that's how it goes. Anyway, it's Googleable. You guys out there can Google that one.
Googleable.
That's a Dave word.
You've got a few that you've come up with that I've used. I've borrowed.
Those all come from my dad. God bless him. He recently passed away, and great guy, 98-year-old World War II veteran and mentor and my hero, and just a super guy. But all those one-liners like that and those little sayings, that comes from my dad.
I hated to hear that. Of course, I already knew about that. I really hated to hear that. I know y'all was close, and he was your hero. But, you had him a long time, and what a blessing that is in itself,
Absolutely.
Let's see, who did I had Billy Earhart come there and play keys on
Billy.
That,
he played keyboard on that record. Let's see, Jeff played a lead ride. Jeff Cook.
Jeff who?
Jeffrey, and I may call him Cookie during the process because that's what I always refer. If you hear me say Cookie, it's Jeff Cook. But Jeff played the lead ride thing on Green River and sang opposite of you on Green River.
Right.
And that was really kind of a cool swampy version.
It was
of Green River that I've never heard anybody do one quite like it. It was very cool.
It was cool, and it was cool that we got to do that. Because I believe it was Alabama's first record, but they did Green River on, and Jeff sang it. First or second?
I know that's. I know he sang the lead on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that was their first out the gate or not.
Well, you've known him a long time, ain't you?
Oh well. I met Jeff. I got to tell you the story.
Let's hear it.
And he's not going to mind me telling it, I'm sure, because it's freaking hilarious. So this was probably back in let me get the date right, 1980. And I was playing in a band called Wildwood, like Wildwood Flower, but we left the flower off the end of it. So I'm playing in this band, and my bass player is a very well-known mechanic in the area, Rick Dobbs. And he had this 1962 Chevy that would absolutely fly. He had aircraft landing lights on it when it was on bright. I mean, you could get on the interstate and just see forever. So we're out riding around one night, and we pull up to a convenience store, and there's the red light, and there's a convenience store to your left there. And we had our windows down. It's in the summer, and we hear somebody hollering. And this guy comes running across and just gets right in the window and was talking to Rick. He said, "Hey, Rick," said, "man, I need to get you to do me a favor." And Rick said, "What's that?" He said, "Do me a favor and give me about a 30-minute head start and go down to my house and put my wife's plug wires back on for her." Then he reached in the window and he said, "Hey, my name's Jeff Cook. Who are you?" So what had happened is they got into a big old fuss, and he went out there and jerked the plug wires off her car so he could get out of there without her chasing him down. So
That
we won't
sounds
call
right.
any names, but Jeff was definitely involved in that one. But
That
that's how we met, and then he would show up. Um, we'd be playing somewhere, and he would be off, playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. And if he's on the bus and he's coming back through the town we're playing in, well, the bus just rolls up and Jeff gets his guitar and his rig out and comes in. He'll sit in and play with us for, 30 or 40 minutes. And that's just how he was and still is. He would just as soon play in a club with about 20 people in it as he had just to play as he had to play out, in front of 20 or 30,000 or more
sure.
people. And he's just been a great friend of me. So we met in 1980. My band fronted for those guys a number of times and others. And our band toured the U.S. and Canada. We really didn't have a record deal or anything. We got approached a couple of times, but Alabama's been a big part of our history and my history. And I've been able to work with all those guys and just a group of guys, Randy, Teddy, and Jeff, and Mark. I've enjoyed working with all of them.
And just here recently, Randy and Jeff and Teddy have done some work out at Cook Sound, I heard about.
Yeah, we did. That was the Christmas project single of Christmas in Dixie that a group called Home Free. They did a remake on it. And I kind of got to be a part of that. They brought their own engineer guy out here, and I guess my job was to hang out and make coffee and stuff like that.
That sounds so familiar. And you do, by the way.
I think they gave me a credit on the album. I'm not sure exactly what I got credited for, but I heard that I'm on there.
You do make some of the best coffee, and you don't give your secret away. I've been trying to get that crap for over 10 years now.
Not going to happen. You just have to come back and watch me make it.
I mean, he brings it in a Ziploc bag. That's all I know. That's all I know. So,
so what happens before I get here.
Yeah, right. But as long as you keep making it, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and it's free too. There's no charge for the coffee.
That's right. Man, we've drank quite a bit of coffee up there.
Yeah, I didn't make any money, but I drank a lot of coffee.
Maybe you ought to package that stuff and sell it. Whatever you're doing to it, man.
No, that's how Cookie and I met. And the group Home Free, they came and did Christmas in Dixie. And if you haven't heard those guys, Home Free, they won that show, the Sing Off. I can't remember the year, a few years back, but type in YouTube Home Free and just go through and watch their videos. They're just incredible group of vocalists.
They're kind of like that Pentatonics.
Correct.
Kind of thing, ain't they? Like a cappella with a beatbox with a percussion with their voices, basically.
Correct. No, I mean, they're just incredible what they can do with that. They're really, really good. And yeah, it was fun. It was, there's also a video of the making of that. Yeah. And about halfway through it, Randy and I, have you seen that? Have you seen that video?
Yeah. Talking
Randy
about
and I were talking about the tractor. And I don't remember exactly how we got started on it, but, anyway, it's kind of funny. You should go if your listeners haven't seen it or listened to it, they should look up Home Free and the making of Christmas in Dixie with Alabama. It's a lot of fun.
You remember when?
Of course, they make fun of the way we talk. That's okay. We make fun of the way they talk. Or as Randy would say, I'll speak my Southern English as natural as I please.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't remember the year it was, but it was. I think it was after we did that album there at Cook Sound during the week of the first or second week of June. They did the songwriter showcase.
Yeah.
It was at the one of the auditoriums there in town, Fort Payne, And I was backstage. I had never met Randy, and I was backstage, and we had a big group of people back there, and they had invited some hit writers out to do that, and all the money benefited the Boys and Girls Ranch, I think.
Right.
John
Yeah, it
Kroll.
was all geared to some type of charity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as we're taking this picture, I'd never met him. As we're taking this picture, he's behind me, and he's got a, I think it was a Heineken, like a bottle, and he's trying to hide it behind my arm. And he grabs my arm like right here in a weird spot and starts pushing on that nerve, and he's right in my ear, and I hear, "Whisper to me softly." He's right in my ear as we're taking that picture. That's my introduction. And then I turn around and I said, "Man, I kind of like it in my ear like that. A little trickle of a whisker in there too." And he said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, my mama always said I had a strong grip." Now who are you? That's how it went. Right. But he ended up introducing me to Frank Myers that night.
I'll tell you a story on Randy too. We years ago when they were doing the 41 number one, the 41 songs that went to number one. It's like a double album.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they put 3 singles on there, and I was not here at the time, and they were doing the demo out here for those 3 singles that they were going to put on there, the new songs. And the engineer got sick or something. And they called me at the last second, and I came out here to help them finish the engineering on it, because RCA had to have those 3 songs the very next morning so that they could hear if they wanted to do them or not. So these weren't the album cuts, but these were the demos for that.
Right.
So Randy was doing the song 5 o'clock 500, which is on that 41 hit record. And this kind of give you an idea of how Randy rolls. And they're very true to their roots from being from the South, especially this album or this area. So we're working on the vocals for that. Randy finishes his up. And so the way he said 500, he didn't say it 500. It was 500. And he told everybody, said, "Now, when y'all put y'all's background vocals on that," he said, "make sure that you say 500, not 500, 500. Make sure you do it that way." So he was, he's true to his roots here, and they're very interesting to work with in the studio. Teddy stands about 6 feet away from a microphone when he's singing it, and he'll just kind of run past it. And sing, and it's he's different. He works a long way away from a microphone. 6 feet is probably an exaggeration, but he works a good ways back from a microphone. I kind of describe it like this: Teddy is kind of the glue that holds everything together. He is the ear for those guys. Randy singing a vocal one day in here, and Teddy said, "No, stay off of that note. That's going to be mine and the harmony part, and you go just under that," or something like that. So Teddy's hearing these parts, the way he's going to sing his parts before they go down, and he's directing and producing what they're doing. So, of course, you got Teddy's the ear, Randy's the face, and the vocal. Randy's, I swear, his vocal now is just as good as it was back in 1981.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just incredible. Jeff, he's the musician of the group, no doubt. I've been working on archiving a lot of their old tapes that we have here at the studio, and I've got probably, oh my gosh, we've got probably 60 multi-track tapes here with some songs that have never been released on them. I don't know what they're planning on doing with it, but they're archived. I know I've got enough that we're working on Jeff a release we've got enough stuff on him that's never been released for him to do an album or two
Good.
off that. Some really good stuff too. Some really good pickers on those, and a lot of them were recorded in Nashville. Some recorded here, but it's really good stuff. I found the original demo to Feel So Right that was done in the mid 70s before they had a record deal. Before, and it's not completely different from the single, but the way that Harold Shedd did it when he got a hold of it, I think he was the one that was producing that album. The way that they did that was completely just that having that producer guy take that song to the next level. I mean, it's a great song anyway.
Yeah.
But it had a steel guitar in it. Wow. And I don't know if your listeners may know this, but there's no Alabama song ever released or on a record that had a steel guitar in it. They were a country band. And there's no steel guitars in anything. Jeff has that way of bending strings that makes it sound like a steel. But to my knowledge, and I think they'll tell you that too, there's no steel guitar in anything that they've ever done.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I think Jeff has a story behind that, but I don't know that I can share that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're picking it out on here. I mean, you can talk about stuff.
You'll have to get with him on that.
Yeah.
But no, those guys are great. They've been really good to me. And I can't thank Jeff Cook enough for the freedom that he's given me to float in and out of this place and pretty much do whatever I wanted to do. And I can't thank him enough, really. And Cookie, he's the man.
He is, man. And you introduced me to him years ago too, and I appreciate you for doing that because we've got a friendship.
He came out and played at your release party.
He did. He did. Yeah. And I lost the damn video to that. I had it on a DVD. Well, I think I texted you one day and asked if you had a copy of it.
If it could be here somewhere, we have so many tapes here. We would just have to stumble across it at some point.
I hope it stumbled across.
I do too, because I'd like to have that.
Yeah, I would too. I normally keep up with all my little stuff like that. I don't know if between moving around and stuff, I don't know what happened, but it's allowed you the opportunity working there, to meet a lot of other people, be involved in a lot of really cool projects, and kind of be a engineer, like a serious engineer, not just
Well, I had my first studio at home, and I got involved in music that way. I got involved in music. I'm a guitar player, but by nature of the way things go, I had to be a drummer on the road. So I've had more experience playing drums. But so I'm pretty much self-taught on the engineering side of everything. But working here has given me a lot of opportunities. I met Norman Blake here. I mean, the stories I've got on Norman are priceless.
Yeah.
Norman likes to keep up with it because I can't keep up with it, but he'll tell me, he said, you know how many songs you've recorded on me, Dave? And I said, no, Norman, I do not. He said, it was somewhere around 150.
Wow.
At one time. It's more than that now, I believe. But I'll tell you a story on Norman. For those of you who do not know who Norman is in his 70s. He started out just in a little minstrel group years ago, and he lives in Rising Fawn, Georgia. And he told me, he said, when I was a kid, I used to walk out to those train tracks out there. And he said, I would look at the trains coming by, and he said, man, I can't wait to get on one of these trains and get out of here. And then he said, for the rest of my career, he said, I spent looking at trains going by and thinking, man, I can't wait to hop on one of them and get back home. So it's bittersweet, a lot of this musician stuff. But Norman started out with Johnny Cash, which is when he got his big break. and was in Cash's band for like, I think, 20 years. Played on Bob Dylan's Nashville Skyline. Norman is considered one of the top 5 or so flat pickers in the world.
Without a doubt.
He's just incredible. So the way I met Norman, I got a call from Peter Ostrusko, and you have to look up that name. Peter is a phenomenal musician, a violinist, mandolinist. He's played with Dylan also, and just Joan Baez, many different people in the folk industry. John Hartford, he's played with all those guys. So anyway, Peter called one day and left a message, and I didn't know who he was. And he said, I need to come through there and record a few songs. I'm going to bring a couple of people with me. And I called him back, and I said, well, who are you bringing? He said, Norman and Nancy Blake. Well, I knew who they were. And so I was totally excited to get to track Norman. So Norman is notoriously early to show up for a recording session. That's just the way he rolls. So Norman, I'm here it's on a Saturday. I'm here by myself. I've got the front, the door here propped open, so anybody that wants to can just walk in. You know how it is around here. It's pretty off the beaten path, and so just nobody actually knows it's here.
Yeah.
So I hear the door creaking open, and I hear somebody say hello, and I said, "Come on in." And I said, "Leave your gun at the door." And he walks in and he looks around and he said, how long has this place been here? And I said, well, since the early 80s. This was, I think, like 2009 or something when I first started recording Norman. And he said, well, damn. He said, I wished I'd have known it. He said, I've been coming here all this time instead of driving all the way to Nashville. And I said, damn, I wished you'd have known it. I'd have known it too. Wished you'd have known it so that you could have been here, because I'd have got, I'd have been like 400 songs by now.
Yeah.
But he is just, we've become friends over the years, and I'll go by his house and see him when I'm in the area. And he is just phenomenal. But his stories, we would do 2 or 3, cuts on takes on a song, and he'd get it, and he'd sit there for a minute and he'd start telling stories. So I've got a lot of these I've got recorded, not all of them. Some stories I'll never tell that he's told me, but it's his life in music is just tremendous. The people he's played with, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtracks got Norman featured on the album. He got a Grammy for that. We got nominated for Wood, Wire, and Words that was released, I think, in 2016. A good story there. Norman's never been, he's got 10 nominations, I believe. He's never been to the Grammys. He really doesn't care anything about awards. He says, I just like working with the people. So I thought, well, I'll go. And I'd never been. And so I was going through some difficult times personally during that time, which you well know. You kind of went through that with me.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I don't have anything holding me here. I said, I'm just going to go. So I'm getting ready to leave in a couple of weeks, and Norman finds out that I'm going. And his manager calls me. He said, hey, Norman wants to talk to you. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to Chattanooga. I'll just stop by there. So I stopped by there, and we're sitting there talking, and Norman said, I hear you going to the Grammys. I said, yeah. He said, well, I've never been. He said, I just like working with the people. And he said, the awards, that's great. If they want to give it to you, that's fine. And he said, we've been nominated, into the top 5. I said, yeah. I said, I'm going. And I said, I wish you'd go. He said, well, I'm not interested. He said, his line is, that's a little too far past the edge of the yard for me.
Oh my God, I
like
love
a good
that.
dog, He said, but I want you to do me a favor while you're out there. If you don't mind, he said, would you accept, if we were to win, he said, would you accept the award for me? Now, Andrew, I am a redneck in my soul from Fife, Alabama. And I'm going to the Grammy Awards. That's one thing, just to go. But for somebody like Norman to ask you to accept the award for him, well, you don't say no. I mean, I'm not going to say no to the guy. I said, well, I would be honored. Then I spent the rest of the few weeks before I got there worrying that I'm going to have to get up there and say something, you know?
Yeah.
So he had me a little list of people to thank just in case. And so here I am. I'm sitting on the front row at the Grammy Awards, and they're scrolling the name down for Folk Album of the Year. And all the names are coming up, and there's Norman Blake, Woodwire and Words. And I'm thinking, oh my, I could be about to embarrass myself and my family right here on national television. And so, I mean, literally, we didn't win it. Bella Fleck and Abigail Washburn won it. But when they announced their name, it was like, thank you, Jesus, and oh crap, all at the same time. You know, it was a relief, but it was like, man, I sure would have liked to carry one of those home and put it on the mantle. And the way that works is, and people don't know it, but if you're the engineer on a project like that, and you do, I think it's like 51% or more of the engineering on it, you share in the award with the artist, even though your name's not necessarily on there. You get to bring that bad boy home. You get one too. You know, you get to set that on your mantle too. So it would be cool to have one, but the experience was incredible just to do that. So hey, I'm hoping that's not the last one. You know, hoping to get one someday. But if I don't, just working with guys like you and Norman and Randy and Teddy and Jeff and all the other people that are out there that I've worked with, that, you know, I've done hundreds of projects, and I find things every so often. I say, oh yeah, I remember doing that, you know, that I go back and listen to, and I think, man, I could have done that a whole lot better than I.
I do the same thing.
You know, I don't think I ever get to that 100% I love it plateau. If I hit 90, I'm good.
I think that's a good thing though, because if you did get to that 100%, it wouldn't leave anything left.
Yeah, there's nothing to strive for after that.
Every time I hear one of my songs, every single time I hear something, I thought, man, I should have said this, or I should have played that note like this, or I should have, you know, put this chord in there or something. Every single time. I mean, people probably don't understand, you know, why anybody would put that much thought into just listening to a song. But I guess musicians are a different breed, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. And being a instrumentalist, you know, I play a lot of different instruments too, and it's all by ear. I can't read a thing, but I hear, and I know you're the same way. I mean, you know, I can go to a worship service at a church, and if there could be 10 musicians on stage, and if that guitar player is second or third strings out, I'm going to know it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, you just hear it. It's just, you're there to worship, so you have to kind of tune a lot of that stuff out. But it's difficult because we're always striving to get perfect on something, and I'm just, you know, I hope I never get there, I guess is a good way to put it. To your point, is if I ever get there, then, you know, everything else will be really disappointing after that.
Yeah. I mean, you go back and listen to records, you know, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, even, you know, and even when they had the equipment and the method, and they had figured out how to, you know, mix and engineer a project, but they left a lot of mistakes in there, and that kind of gives that song a breath, like it's breathing, you know, it's like it's real, you know.
Yeah, we can take Pro Tools now and make anything perfect. I
Right.
mean, we really can, as far as meshing it all together. But when you do that, I like what Joe Walsh said. It becomes very impersonal.
It does.
It's just there's no dynamic there. It's lost some of its personality to do it like that. In my opinion, you know, depends on the genre, I guess.
Yeah. Have you seen that History of the Eagles documentary?
I have.
Oh,
very good
man.
stuff.
Is that not something?
Yeah, I was fortunate in the 70s to get to see the Eagles live in Tuscaloosa when it was the 5-piece group right after, I'm sorry, it was in Birmingham, Alabama, right after Timothy Smith had joined the group.
Oh yeah.
And so it was him and Walsh, Henley, Fry, and Felder.
Mm-hmm.
And man, greatest concert I ever saw. 5-piece band. I mean, and that the singing, the harmony was just incredible. And then I got to see them again a couple of years before Fry passed away in Birmingham again, when it was the history of the Eagles tour. And they were just, they're just incredible. My all-time favorite band, really. I'm sorry, Randy, Teddy, and Jeff, which I think is theirs too. Alabama's right in there too. The Beatles.
Yeah.
And being a drummer, a lot of people look at Ringo Starr as, he's not flashy. He's not John Bonham or Neil Peart or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I promise you could take, now I heard somebody else say this, and this is very true. You could take all the musicians out of every song the Beatles did and leave Ringo Starr in it, and you could name the song based on his licks that he did in that song.
Yeah.
You check that out sometime when you're listening to a Beatles song and you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's something. Because drummers really, I mean, normally are not, even well-known drummers, you couldn't say that about.
No, he's extremely unique in his approach to what he does. He has signature licks in those songs that you can take every other instrument out and just leave him in there. You could name the song.
Yeah. Teddy talked about him and Randy, growing up across the cotton field from each other, and the Beatles was on Ed Sullivan, and they would be out there in the cotton fields working and saying, "Hey, did you learn this new Beatles chord?"
Yeah, I saw your interview with Teddy. That was really good. I like that.
I love Teddy, man. He's something.
He
else.
is the same dude no matter where you see him at.
I was at his house the other day, and he called me. And he said, "Hey, just go on out there to the house. I got to spread a load of gravel real quick. I'll be right up there."
Well, that's in that video with Home Free when I'm talking to Randy about seeing him on the tractor with his shirt off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those guys, they're farm boys.
They are.
Yeah, I met Randy and Kelly, his wife, when they still lived in that little house out there that didn't have a back door on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just had one door. You had a front door. You went in and out that front door. There was no back door on that little house. So that's when I met them years ago.
Yeah.
Great people.
And Fort Payne, I've talked about this with several of my guests so far. Of course, none of them except for Teddy is from here, but you are, or you're, close like I am. At Fort Payne back in the 80s, between the June Jams and the sock mills, I mean, it was rocking.
Yeah, it was a happening place.
Extremely. It sure was. And it's just like, now, I remember when Alabama got back together after that Brad Paisley thing, and then the tornado concert that they did. And when was that? 2011, I think.
2011. Yeah.
I kept thinking, please bring the June Jam back, but didn't happen.
There's been talk of it. It's just not been the right time, not the right circumstance yet.
Well, it would be a big. I mean, it would be a big thing. It would require a lot of people to get on board with it for the right reasons, I think.
Right.
And then the city too, and it's not like it was back then. It's kind of different now. And I think, when you really think about it, it's something that should just be left alone, like leave it for history. Don't try to bring it back and make it better,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
We played on that first June Jam. We played on the first two. We played on the one that was called the June Jam that the promoter left with all the money and nobody got paid. I think Teddy told you a little bit about that story.
He did.
We were there. We were the opening act for them that night, and oh man, it was incredible. There was probably, I'm going to say, around 12,000 people there
Right.
in that little stadium, and it was just packed out. And the show was awesome that they did. We had a really good show and had a great time doing it, and it kind of got our name on the map too. But what's funny is when the promoter called me about our band doing that show. At that time, Alabama had been gone from here. This was right about the time they released the first that My Home's in Alabama, and I had heard it, and I really didn't realize that those guys were from Fort Payne. And so he calls me and he says, "Hey, I want you guys to open up for Alabama. We're going to do a June Jam at the football field." And I said, "Who's Alabama?" He said, "Well, they're from Fort Payne." I said, "No, they're not." And he said, "Yeah, they're from Fort Payne." He said, "They used to be called Wild Country." "Oh, yes, I know who that is." Yeah, I didn't know they were still together. And that was before the internet, and all you had was radio, and before Al Gore invented the internet, it was all we had was radio. So
yeah.
Anyway, we did that show and never got paid for it.
Man, that would have been a good payday too for 12,000 people. I mean,
well, yeah, I was hoping we had a price figure set with the guy, but we never saw anything. But the exposure was priceless.
Yeah. What are you working on? What are you working on now? Anything that anybody be interested in?
I tell you what I'm excited about. I've been working on a few small projects for local groups here, but I think I told you about the Leon Russell.
Oh yes, you played me some of that.
Yeah, that started. I finished it about a year and a half ago.
Awesome.
But that started when I came back from the Grammys, and I stopped in at Scott O'Malley's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's Blake's manager. And I'll show you one of the boxes here in a minute. That's really cool, or the track sheet out of it. But I'm walking through his warehouse, and I look, and there are these boxes over on the wall, and they look like big, extra large 2-inch tape reels in the boxes that they came in. Well, I asked Scott, I said, "What is that?" And he said, "That's some old video from Telluride." And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think it could be, but I don't think so. So I walked over. I said, "You mind if I take one out of the rack and open it?" And he said, "No, go ahead." And so I opened it up, and immediately I saw the number on the reel, and I said, "This is audio." And I said, "Has anybody ever done anything with this?" And he said, "Well, no." I said, "Well, whatever you do, don't let anybody play this unless they restore it first." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Okay, do you know how to do that?" And I said, "Oh, yes," with a big smile on my face. "Oh,
do
yes,
I know how to do that?
You have come to the right place.
Yes.
I just happen to know how to do that." And he said, "Well, what would you charge me?" And I said, not a dime unless something comes out of it." Yeah. So he said, "I'll ship it to you." So he shipped it to me, and it sat here for a while. And I finally got on it, and you have to bake old reel-to-reel tapes like this, because these are like early 80s, probably late 70 tapes. And you bake them in a convection oven on the reel. You just open the box, set the reel in the oven, and you bake them like at around 120 degrees in a convection oven. A conventional oven will not do it. So don't try this at home. The conventional oven will not work. It has to be in a convection oven. And so you have to bake these reels for like 8 or so hours a piece to get the tape to re-adhere to the metal backing on it. So when you do that, then you put it on the 2-inch tape machine, which we have a Studer here, and you transfer it into digital so that you can manipulate it. Well, I did that, and man, I started playing those things, and I opened the last box, and I'll see if I can find the track sheet on that thing and get it where you can see it. But I opened the last box and found the track sheet, and on track 19 was John Hartford. So you've got Leon Russell and the Newgrass Revival playing a live 2.5-hour concert at Telluride in 1981, before there was Pro Tools, when they just had to put the tape machines in a big truck and get them out there, you know?
Yeah.
And the only time John Hartford, to my knowledge and to Sam Bush's knowledge, ever appeared with Leon Russell is on this project.
Wow.
So anyway, I got it all mixed, and it's like a double album, and got in touch with Leon's people. Leon had passed away, and they are working on a documentary for that, and this is going to be the centerpiece of that. And the last word I got would be sometime late this year that they're going to release that. And so I'm right like cloud nine on this thing. So for a while, I was the only guy that had heard this since 1981. And it's just incredible because you got Sam Bush, John Cowan, Leon Russell, and John Hartford. And let me see if I can dig out the track sheet. And what's cool is it is the track sheet, the sheet that's attached to it is a hand-drawn stage plot. And it's really cool. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I'm looking. It'll probably be in the last one. Yeah.
Probably so. And we got the good look at the little California raisins up there.
Yeah. So here's the track sheet. Let me get that where you can see it.
Man.
You see John Hartford down there on track 19. So then there's a hand-drawn stage plot, which is, now we do everything by computer.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a hand-drawn stage plot for the project, but these were incredible. So you got, so I went to meet with Sam Bush when he came to Chattanooga to tell him about it and to get him to fill in a few of the blanks for me because, and somewhere there's a video for this because on track 1 there's this video sync on it. But you got somebody by the name playing harp nicknamed Juke, Juke. So I found out what that guy's name was, and I've got these in my notes somewhere. Sam Bush, vocals and mandolin and guitar, and Leon on vocal and piano, John Cowan, bass guitar, and then down there is Hartford on track 19. So it was like just an incredible find.
Yeah.
And I know why they didn't do anything with it, because the first 3 or 4 songs on it, just a train wreck. They had mic problems. They had a bad cord on the bass, and they plugged it in and unplugged it, and it just exploded, And before automation, there's just nothing that you can do with some of this stuff. So anyway, it was a love and a blessing, and I hated it all at the same time. At some points, it just became such a part of what I was doing that I had to walk away from it for a while, because you've got all that audio and you've got 2 or 3 engineers messing with it besides what I'm trying to do with it. And it was a push-pull for a while, and had to walk away from it a few times and then come back to it. But it turned out awesome. And Bill Siddons, who was the manager for Jim Morrison and the Doors, he is over that estate, and he has that now. And he's giddy about it. So We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to right there. I mean, it's kind of rare to come up on something like that, especially.
Yeah,
I mean, just it's kind of like a part of you knew you were so curious when you saw that at his
yeah.
house. Part of you knew, like, you care if I mean, who says that? You care if I go over there and open
Right. Well, it was in the warehouse, and it was like I was 30 feet away from it,
Yeah.
and I just happened to notice that it was a box of tapes, a group of tapes there, and but the other thing I'm really excited about is this Alabama archive
Oh, yeah.
that I've been working on, and then I'm now mixing and finishing up some background vocals on Jeff's project for his release for his stuff that's never been released before, that he's planning on re-releasing at some point. I can't say re-releasing, just releasing. They've never been released. So,
Right. But it's AGB stuff, or
I'm
just
sorry.
is it Jeff Cook and the AGB All Star Good
No,
Time Band?
this is Alabama.
Oh, okay.
This, you go in the studio and do a project, and you do 18 songs, and you
Overcut. Yeah.
throw out 5. Yeah. So these were the ones that they just didn't release that Jeff did, but they're still high quality recordings, and Pickin, and just incredible music on here.
Wow.
Good singing, a lot of good stuff on there.
So they're like RCA masters.
Yes, that's correct.
How about that?
I've got the 2-inch machine, 2-inch reels, the master copies here. So I did the same thing with them. I baked them, then transferred them over into digital so that you can manipulate them.
Technology
saved my butt a few times.
Yeah, as long as you hit the save button.
Well, right. And then, but used to, when we had the old Neve console, if you're doing a mix down here, there was no automation. So if you
Yeah.
needed to mute a bunch of parts, you had to go upstairs and get the secretary to come down and, get the UPS guy to come in and help you. Hey, you got just a minute. And, when we say let go, let go. So that in the good old days, no automation, and of course, it separates the men from the boys when you're tracking, and you have to get your part right.
Oh, yeah.
There's no just, hey, let's just copy and paste that. You just don't. You can do that now, but then you didn't do that.
Right. And there at that studio, there's so much cool stuff, on the walls and just sitting around. But there's a room in there that Jeff has a ton of guitars. Think about like a library, with books, but it's guitars.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Very cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we can just walk up there and get any one of them we want to at any time. And I think we did that on your project too.
Yeah.
We would try out different guitars and work on that. Yeah. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. We've got a C7 Yamaha Grand here that's been MIDI.
I love that
so
one.
You can actually play through that thing. And it's kind of the C7s are notoriously bright sounding,
mm-hmm.
and Steinways are real dark sounding. And where we've got this positioned in the room, it's like right in the middle of those two.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing sounds so sweet. We've got a old Hammond B3 organ in here. We've got an old set of Gretsch drums with a Black Beauty snare sitting on it, and it's really cool. We've got a lot of Jeff's amps are in here. Great microphones. We've got series 3 of the series back in the 70s of the U87 Neumann mic, or Neumann, as people call it, German microphone. That's just, I think I believe that microphone in the 67 before it is responsible for somewhere around 80% of all the hit songs that's ever been recorded vocally. They're responsible for the vocal on those songs. So we've got those. We've got some kind of really different kind of microphones here too. That's got a Studer microphone on a hi-hat that I didn't know Studer ever made in a microphone.
Me either.
But I've never heard anything that sounded better on a hi-hat than that microphone. So we got a lot of cool things here, and I need to clean the place up. I'm getting kind of COVID junky.
Yeah, it happens fast. I mean, you
Yeah,
got
it
that much
does.
stuff in there. I mean, it happens fast. Can you tell
Yeah.
that story about when he got was it the Leslie for the B3 or was it the B3?
Oh no, it's the B3 altogether. So
Okay. That's
I had a
funny.
session scheduled, and we did not have a B3 here. Well, the artist definitely had to have a B3, so I called one of the local rental places in Gadsden, Alabama, and said, "Hey, you got a B3?" Yeah, yeah, we got one for rent. And I said, "Well, I need that thing, and I need it here at this time." And so they show up and they pack that thing out, unpack it, and load it in the back here and get it all set up. And it's beat all to smithereens. I mean, I don't care as long as it works. You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to see it on the record. You're just going to hear it. So they're unpacking that thing. They get it all hooked up and they go to start the thing up. Doesn't work. He works on it for a minute. Doesn't work. Can't get it going. I promised the artist that we would have this. So the guy picks up the phone. He said, "Hey," he said, "is that other B3 down there? Is it back from the church down the road down there?" And he said, "No." He said, "But they told us to come get it. They were not going to buy it." He said, "Well, go pick it up and get it up here as soon as you can. So we got to have it within the next hour and a half." So in about an hour and 20 minutes, this other B3 shows up and they unload this thing off the truck, and it's like pristine. It's like it's been sitting in somebody's living room its entire life and may have been and had never been out of. I mean, it's just like gold. I mean, it's even got Hammond on the side of it, and everything. I mean, it's beautiful. He gets it in here and he plugs that thing up, and man, it just sounded like $1 million. It's on your record. Billy E played it on your record.
Yep.
And and I thought, oh boy, this is great. So we finished the session, and I called the guy, and he said, "Well," he said, "I need to probably pick that up sometime next week." I said, "Well, have you got a buyer for it?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, Jeff's on tour right now." I said, "But if you'll let that thing hang here for a little bit, I'll get him to play it and see if he's interested." Jeff comes in off the road. He comes in, he plays it, he loves it. And he said, "How much are they wanting for it?" I tell him. He said, "That's a little high, don't you think?" I said, "Yeah, but there's probably some room there." So he said, "Well, see what you can get them down to." So I call the guy, and he said, "Well, here's what I'll do." I call Jeff. She said, "I don't know." And it's back and forth and back and forth. And I'm thinking, I'm fixing to lose this thing. So we get down to within $1,000 of each other. And I'm thinking Jeff's not going to go there. And I called Jeff. He said, "No, I don't." He said, "If they'll just come on down it." And I call that guy back, and "No, I can't do that." And I called Jeff back, and I said, "Jeff," I said, "tell you what, I'm thinking that we're not going to be able to get these guys down there." I said, "But if you won't budge that other $1,000, I said, I'll pay the $1,000. I just don't want to lose it." And he just busted out laughing. He said, "You do." He said, "You'd do that, wouldn't you?" And I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "We need it that bad." I said, "Well, it's not that we need it. It's just you may never find another one this good." I mean, it even had the on the assignment bars on the left side. It even had the original lettering and everything.
Wow.
You just don't see that.
No.
He laughed and he said, "You would pay that?" And I said, "I sure would." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "Can we make money on it if we sold it tomorrow?" I said, "I think so. Pretty sure we could." He said, "Well, I'll just buy it then." And I said, "Thank God." I thought we were fixing to lose that thing. And so we got it, and we've had it ever since. I think that was probably in the 90s sometime back in there. But the other story with Cookie. I think I've told you this one about the drums. Have I ever told you the one about the drums?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I am not here, and Jeff knows nothing about drums. He is a guitar player. He knows nothing about drums. So I am not here, and I get a phone call, and it's Jeff, and he says, "Hey, I got this guy that wants to trade us 2 sets of drums for that old junky set we got down there in the studio." And I said, "What's he got?" And he said, "Oh," and he told me, and I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding." I said, "Jeff," I said, "your snare drum, just the snare drum, is worth more than that entire set of junk that he's got. Just the snare drum." And there was a long pause, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad I called you." And I said, not half as glad as I am. And I'd have come in there Monday and those drums had not been there. And that piece of junk that he's trying to say you had been there, I would have had to have years of counseling to get over it. So never again did he worry about drums. If there was ever a question, I got a phone call about drums. So that's that story. I came really close to losing those things. I bought those for the studio over Metro Music in Atlanta. They're an old early 80s kit, Gretsch, in that Black Beauty snare. We acquired it later on down the road, but that thing, they sound great.
They do sound great. And that's just a testament to Jeff, you know.
Yeah.
And another thing about him, man, if he takes you out to lunch, I mean, he'll talk a little while and then he gets up and you think he's at the bathroom. He's up at the cash register paying the ticket and he walks outside.
Yeah. He doesn't really say, "Y'all ready?"
It just cracks me up every time. He's done, you know. And everybody's like looking around.
Where's Jeff? Oh, he's at the car.
One of a kind. That's what Teddy said about him. One of a kind.
Oh, he's one of a kind. All right. Extremely talented.
Yeah, you one of a kind too, though.
Oh, well, they broke the mold when they made me. That's what that amounts to. I appreciate the compliment, but you know,
that mold must have been molded pretty bad.
Oh
man.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder if we're gonna get snowed in or iced in.
Well, it's I think it's what, 8 o'clock. I don't think it's really supposed to be in here until about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. If it hits us, I think we're just on the outside edge of it. So maybe we'll be fine.
Well, where you're at there would be a great place to get trapped in.
Unless the power went off, and then you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean,
because it is so dark in here.
Yeah, it is. Lighting candles ain't gonna do no good. It ain't gonna do you no good.
No, it's way too dark in here. You know, I could grab this camera because we're wireless.
Yeah.
And kind of just show y'all through.
Yeah, people will love to see that.
I mean, we first of all, we work here, so it's there's been sessions going on.
Right.
So let me see about kind of getting all this together here.
Yeah. This studio is a piece of history.
It is. I'm not messing you up too much, am I?
No. We stay messed up on picking it out. Yeah, there's a music stand.
We've got the little controller there, and I like to show this. This is
one of them's laying down. What happened?
Yeah, and that's what happens when you play
rock,
music.
That's when you rock too hard. Huh?
Yeah. Got some old tape machines. Got a PR99 right there.
That's nice.
Yeah, let's scroll back over here. Here is your 2-inch Studer machine, 827 multi-channel.
And Prince's guy came in to work on that. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Well, he is. He refurbished Prince's studio years ago. A lot of great stories right there. His name is Kevin Nemo. He's in Nashville. He's done everybody's studio. Bachman Turner Overdrive, Sheryl Crow. He's the go-to guy. So we walk through the hallway here, and you come up to the drums in the open room here.
Oh, yeah. Feels like calm seeing all that.
Yeah, I've got, I think there's 10 microphones on those. We've got the old Sennheiser 421s there. And there's that Studer mic, which is kind of cool. And the Black Beauty snare under there. That's what Cookie was going to sell.
That is
Entire set of drums.
that is a fat snare.
We actually
too.
have enough. We've got enough extra drums around here for another set of drums. We've got a different kick drum, but this sounds the best.
Yeah.
Got some of Jeff's amp. This was the part of the Stinger series that he made. He actually built amps for a while. Got an old Vegas 400 sitting here. Got you an old Music Man sitting there. I'm trying to figure out how to work this camera. If you go one way and it goes the other. A digital Yamaha. Got an old Lee Jackson, Dean Markley, a little old bitty piece of something right here, a little prime. Over here in the effects cabinet, can't really see it that great, but we've got a Tom Schultz Rockman. Here's your Dean Markley 12-string. That's great if you like to play Hotel California.
Oh, yeah.
Got your old jazz bass custom in Jeff's favorite color.
Green. Yep.
Mint neon green. Crazy. Oh, yeah. All right, here's something.
Oh, yeah.
This is your dual Showman Fender. And we have used that a lot.
Yeah, I've used
you're automatically Brad Paisley when you plug into that thing.
It'll honk.
Yeah. Well, another Music Man 100D. Right there. And a collection of different keyboards here. I'll show you back into the vocal. This is the vocal booth with a U87 in there. And give you a shot into the acoustic room right there. And let's see. Here is the Hammond B3. Just a beautiful little instrument right there now.
Yeah, it is.
I would open the top, but I've got my hands full. Got a laptop in one hand and my camera in the other. So we have the old Furman headphone system. Here's your U47. Sweet.
Yeah.
And
a bed. Oh, no, a piano.
Yeah, the C7 Grand.
That thing sounds gorgeous. I've played that a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's a sweet little instrument right there. But man, I got to get you back out here, brother.
And that blanket.
Matter of fact, I got a song I need you to demo.
And that blanket right there. Tell them why you put that blanket on top of that piano.
Keep it warm. It's cold outside. Now that keeps a little bit of the ambient noise from jumping in there. I got that at Walmart, just in case y'all want to know. It's an ad for Walmart right there.
I'm so glad you said that.
Back into the control room there. Yeah, I'm sorry, Andrew. That was just there. I had to use it.
I'm so glad that you did. Really, you took that. I mean, that's what we do here.
I ran with it. Yeah, I ran with it. But that's the room, y'all. You got your vocal booth back over there in the back, and got your drum room. Vocal booth and drum, or not drum room, but it used to be the drum room. We moved the drums out of there and use it for an acoustic guitar room.
Really?
So, yeah, we used to have them in there, and they did not get enough breath.
Yeah.
That way.
And if y'all want to do any demo work or cut a record or whatever, call up Cook Sound Studios, talk to David, and come up there and you won't be sorry. The whole experience of being there, especially if you've never been and you ain't from Alabama or anything like that, you just want to come and do it. the whole experience, you'll fall in love with the whole experience of that place. And you know, in them walls, I mean, you can really feel the energy in that studio. I always have.
Yeah, it's very cool room.
Well, brother, it's
Man,
good to
I've
see
got
you
all kinds
again.
of stories. We could stay here all night.
Well, tell some.
Well, let's see. Let me see if I can part you out here with one last story.
Well, give us a little parting story.
A parting story. Uh, what's a good parting story? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna draw a blank. Okay, I'll tell you about the first time Norman ever heard Elvis Presley,
Oh, okay.
and they did not even. And I've got this one recorded.
Mm.
So Blake is coming in off the road uh, with Cash, and let's say, let me back that up. They're on the road, and they're coming into a studio somewhere. Either they're going to record or they're doing an interview, and I can't remember exactly which. But either way, so this young engineer runs in while they're on break with this reel of tape. And he says, "Man, said you guys have got to hear this." So this guy, this is his first single. His name's Elvis Presley. They're just about to release it. Said it's incredible. Norman would tell you, he said, I was always hot tempered and quick to have an opinion, and it was usually wrong. He said, so they put this thing on here and they start playing it. And he said, I'm just shaking my head. He said, and it gets to the end of it and they turn it off. And Norman says, and I quote, Norman says, that's the sorriest shit I have ever heard. This kid will not sell a record. And then he laughed and he said, of course, I've gone on to sell my hundreds of records, and he's gone on to sell his millions of records. But he went on to elaborate about that. He said what it was. He said everybody in the room thought it was bad, but what it was so different that we thought it was bad. He said, but obviously the American public and the world public wanted to hear this guy because he just went crazy after that. I mean, he was just wide open selling records. He said he was so unique that we thought he was bad. Everybody in the room thought he was bad, but he said, obviously he was not. He said, obviously I was wrong. So that's Blake's story, which I have recorded in the archives here. That he told right after he finished playing the song. He was still out there, and he said, would you like to hear my story about the first time I ever heard Elvis Presley? And I said, sure. So I just hit record real quick and just let it go.
Yeah.
Norman's a great guy. I've been able to work with William Shatner. I opened up for Bob Hope when I was 19 years old in the Phoenix Symphony out in Phoenix, Arizona. And everybody that you can think of in country music back in the 80s, from Loretta Lynn to Tom T. Hall to great people. I mean, Loretta Lynn was just like your best aunt, you know.
Yeah.
Sweetest lady ever. Oak Ridge Boys.
Love those guys.
Goodness, I can just go on. I've been fortunate to be able to do what I do, and very thankful and blessed. And as my dad would say, God looks after drunks and fools, and since I don't drink, that only leaves me one category.
Did you get to meet Bob Hope?
I did. Yeah, very nice guy, very short.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to him backstage and got his autograph.
Oh, cool.
I was like a fan.
Yeah.
And very, very cool dude. The symphony was great. I had my drums out there, and the drummer for the symphony, he was a little bit lazy. He didn't want to set his drums up. He said, do you mind if I just borrow yours? I said, I don't care. And so they used my drums. He did for what they did with Bob Hope. But I used to always think that Hope, when he would give a monologue, his mechanism was he would tell the joke, and then he would look at the camera, tell the joke, and then he would look off to the side.
Yeah.
I thought he was reading cue cards, but he was allowing a response from the audience.
Yeah.
He was very calculating and very, very good at what he did. But I mean, talking about an icon, this is way past just a star. but
Yeah.
Bob Hope is a legend and an icon to start out like he did. And I think it was vaudeville and radio, and then work his way into television. And he's actually quite short. You think of him as being a real tall guy, but was shorter than me, and I'm like 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". So I think he was probably like 5'8", 5'7", somewhere right in there. Short guy.
Yeah,
Very personable.
there is an art to being a comedian that I didn't realize until a few years ago. I was Larry the Cable Guy is a friend of mine, and he was doing a tour with RFD TV. It was him and Foxworthy. So I came to Kentucky somewhere out or Lexington, I think, and he introduced me to Foxworthy, and we were talking, and just me and him. And here's this guy that's so he's real, but he's real deep. Like, he's a deep thinker. He's not really cracking jokes or anything. And then he goes out on stage, and there's probably 30,000 people out there, because it was in the basketball arena. And he is just like, you can tell he's setting up his jokes, and he will push it. If he don't get the response, he'll push it a little further. Like, he's got backups to get that, gotcha response from the audience.
Yeah.
It's amazing watching that from that angle,
Yeah, that's an art form.
It really is.
For sure. To know how to gauge your audience like that. And I know we used to play in clubs. You learn that kind of thing too, is you start reading your audience. And if these songs aren't working, you got enough in your repertoire that you can change and increase their mood. You kind of get a feel for, hey, this is not working. Let's change and let's go this other direction. Yeah. Those comedians, incredible.
They really are. And, Rodney Dangerfield, I always loved him, but he's kind of like that. Like, he would say a lot of the same routines. Bill Cosby would do that too, but he would be, I've seen several things of his where he would say it in a little bit of a different way, kind of put a different twist on it, kind of cater to the audience he's at a little more. It's just genius what they do. And the timing. It's all about that timing,
Yeah, I like to go back and watch Red Skelton.
Oh, my granddad liked Red Skelton.
Yeah, clean humor. Victor Borga was an excellent pianist, but his humor, incredible. I mean, some of that stuff is just, it's timeless.
Yeah.
True art form, for sure. Well, what's going on with Andrew Pope these days musically?
Not much, really. I write here and there, but I've been, doing this and just trying to get something going. I can't really talk about this or who it is, but I was supposed to be working on something this year originally, but now, since all the COVID stuff, I don't know if that's going to be put on hold or what, but that would be good if I could get that going. And I also thought about doing like an acoustic album just here at the house. Some little quarantine silly songs I wrote. I thought about just doing that, but I don't know, man. It's, I don't know.
I got a song I need to pitch it at some
hear
point. Yeah.
We'll get off when we get done here.
Well, I don't have my guitar with me, and I don't even have the words to it, but I've got to thinking about it, and yeah, I'll call you back when we finish this up. It's a lot of what's going on now that I actually wrote with a friend of mine, actually my cousin, about 15, 18 years ago, but it applies to what's happening in the world now.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
A lot of the issues, but I will, I'll bounce that off of you and see if I can get you a decent demo on it, because I don't think I have one anywhere.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. Well, good to see you, man. Good to talk to you. Been a while.
Yeah. I had a lady call me the other day, wants to get a male vocalist in here to demo some of her songs, so I'm going to be calling you.
Call me.
Yep. She needs a guitar playing rhythm guy and vocalist, and that would be you.
I don't
Male
know.
country.
I don't know if I can do the rhythm part as good as some, but I could fake it.
Hey, we got Pro Tools, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, we can make it work. Great to see you, brother.
You too, man. And appreciate y'all watching and picking it out. And we'll see you next time.
Later, dudes and dudettes.